South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds, who was at Pope Francis' 2015 address to Congress, joins me. Good evening, sir. And, it was quite significant that the head of the Catholic Church spoke to Congress. He was the first. And you were there. What did you think at the time?
It was aspirational. It was this Pope who leads the Catholics throughout the world, and in many cases is seen as really the head of Christians in general, talking about goodwill, talking about what he thought Jesus would say if he were here today with us. And so for us, it was one of peace, and it was one of really talking about the goals that we should all have. And we try to measure that with what we have as responsibilities as policymakers. But we also recognize that the Pope was there to send a message, but also a sense of love, a sense of humanity. It's something that I think most of us walked away with feeling better about ourselves, better about our country, and better about the world in general.
Did you think he brought any peace or calm to the Congress? Because they do seem they could use a little more tranquility and discussion among the members today.
I think there would be some truth to that. I think just the fact that we gathered together to listen to this man who clearly, was in it for something other than money or for power. He was there to send a message, and his message of "pray for me" was something that he used many times. But it was something more than that. It was also just a sense that he was trying to share what he thought was right for our world. And, it doesn't mean that everything that he's ever going to tell us is going to be perfect in the world that we have, but he was trying his best to make the world better than what it is today. And in that sense, I think Republicans and Democrats kind of felt a togetherness with regard to just the fact that many of us want to do the same thing, which is to make this world better for the next generation. How we go about doing it, we argue about, but our goals are the same. And I think that's kind of the message that he had for us there.
Well, it's very significant. He was a Jesuit, the first Jesuit Pope, too. He came from Argentina, and he actually lived a very simple life, even as a Pope. He didn't live in, some of the quarters that most popes live in. He was in many ways a very simple man. He adhered to his values as a Jesuit priest.
He did, and that was not lost on the other people that he met with. The fact that he didn't have a great big entourage with him when he was in Rome, the fact that he wasn't living in the big palaces, he was living in a 2-bedroom, suite apartment. The fact that he never lost his roots. And, part of it was he was trying to remember those who were less fortunate than many of the rest of us are. His message about immigration is one that many of us would like to see change today, which is not so much open borders, but rather regulated borders in which we could invite people in on a more frequent occasion than what we do today, but do it in an organized fashion that's good not just for them, but for our country as well. Someday we'll get back to that. But for right now, it's a matter of closing our borders, securing our borders, and then being able to regulate immigration again. Same way as he spoke about the death penalty. I think that's aspirational in nature. We should never take that as the first resort. That should always be the last resort. I think a number of the Catholics feel that way. And I think a lot of people around the world feel that way. Aspirational in nature, yes, but nonetheless, a noble goal to have.
And his simplicity in how he left instructions how he wants his funeral. It's like it is not as grand as popes in the past. I mean, even the fact he doesn't have an elevated bier for some reason, to me, is sort of a symbolic of his simplicity and how his life was. And the fact that his coffin, his coffin is a little different. It seems like a pretty austere coffin. But I think that he deliberately chose those to be reflective of his goals and what he wants for many Catholics around the world.
I agree. It reminds me a lot about Mother Teresa and the life that she lived and the message that she tried to send in her own passing. And this priest, or this bishop, priest, bishop, and Pope, once again, was reminding all of us that he was human and that he was like all the rest of us. It was just simply his role to play here, to be the good Lord's messenger here on earth while he was here. And he took that humbly, but he also recognized that he wanted everybody else to pray for him so that he would do the right thing. That in itself is a powerful message for the rest of us, that prayer is something we should always ask others of, and we should never forget to pray for each other as well.
Senator Mike Rounds from the great state of South Dakota, thank you, sir.
Thank you.